Hello my fellow hunters. The Arch Tempered Rey Dau came and went in Monster Hunter Wilds, signaling that we are almost done with the content of the first title update of the game. With that being the case, I decided to throw in a little review of its content as well as share some of my thoughts on what I hope to see in the future. Let's start with the Grand Hub, the immense social space that was added when the update kicked in. It quickly became one of my favorite places in the game since it has a little bit of everything. It includes the regular vendors and quest givers to address almost all of the hunter's needs, with the newish additions being the arena quest. There are also small minigame locations for those looking for simple fun, like a pond for fishing or the new barrel bowling area. The canteen is also included even if it doesn't work as in previous games. Since cooking meals can now be done at any time with the barbecue, the canteen now serves as a means to Uber in the special meals of different villages of the regions by using special vouchers. It makes it a little bit less interesting since most quests can be accessed from any campsite, so you can get those meals for free whenever they are available, which happen quite regularly. I think it would have been more interesting if you could replicate them with the ingredients you gather throughout your journey, or if they added newer dishes that were unique to the canteen. Lastly, there is the Diva, who sings beautiful songs that also boss hunters once they reach their end. She also became the source of an amusing theory where she is the white fatalist in disguise, probably because her singing bolsters all hunters that are listening in, and how she appears in a flash of light at dawn. Overall, I really like the Grand Hub and I'm looking forward to how Capcom plays with it for the rest of the year. Now we are going over the Mizutsune, the soapy boy that made his return from Rise with new tricks as well as being comically way more deadly in its tempered form. The regular hunt is fun, with the monster having a pretty mobile moveset as well as some very quick strikes that can catch you off guard if you aren't paying attention. Then there are the bubbles that cause bubble blind, with this iteration being more dangerous due to them detonating similarly to Blasted Blight, when you take a strong enough hit while the affliction is going on. Unfortunately, it is also very easy to avoid it since generally you won't find too many bubbles near the ground, most harmlessly floating through the air and far away from most hunters. But things get spicy during the tail end of the hunt, especially if you manage to break its face. This enables Mizutsune to go into Soul Seer mode, where it gets some new moves, gets to explode things, and even gets more aggressive. The sad part is that, as mentioned previously, this occurs at the tail end of the fight, so you don't get to enjoy it as much. Things are very different when hunting the tempered version. This bad boy goes into Soul Seer mode almost right off the bat, so you get all the aggressiveness and explosions for almost the entire hunt. And thanks to the increased damage, most of his moves did a comically huge amount of damage, with the backflip being the star of the show. That moves have the capacity to one-shot almost any hunter regardless of how much HP they have. Let's take a look with the damage reduction of Divine Protection or Defender Meal. The only way to consistently survive it is to be equipped with Rarity 8 armor, which offers the highest available base defense, with upgrades to it making it all the more easier to survive it. This is a very fun hunt to undertake, and the twist of having extra spice when certain conditions are met is just pure awesomeness that goes to show how far Capcom has come in terms of developing Monster Hunter. The armor and weapons that came with it are equally awesome. The armor has the same design as in previous entries, and it still holds up to this day in my opinion. It also came with good skills, in my favorites being Burst, Evasion Window, and with returning unit skill Bubbly Dance. This time it is a unique skill obtained as a set bonus from wearing either 2 pieces for your first level or 4 of these armor pieces to max it out. Burst increases your damage as a reward for consistent DPS. Evasion Window makes it easier to use your iframes when dodging, which can trigger Bubbly Dance which energizes with the weapon skill, Slicked Blade. And speaking of weapons, their style is also very awesome all across the board. To cap it all off, the new weapon skill, Slick Blades, energizes with Bubbly Dance, giving massive increases to affinity so long as you are wet and under the effects of Bubble Blight. I really like this idea of making armor and weapon sets that work together to do very specific things, and I hope to see more of this dynamic in the future. Up next is the high rank Zoh Shia, the most epic hunt added to Monster Hunter to date. It got spruced up with higher damage and health, which allowed us to be graced with all the glory of its entire moveset. It is a very engaging fight that has you using your slinger proactively to destroy the wyvern milk crystals in order to deal extra damage, as well as briefly stagger the monster. It also increases the intensity the closer you are to defeating it, so that by the end of the hunt you are avoiding lightning strikes, huge fireballs, and a whole bunch of other fireballs. It's awesome! It will be really interesting when they add the tempered version of the hunt and eventually the Arch Tempered one. We really do have a bunch of great hunts that will be added in the future on top of whatever else they might be cooking at Capcom. In case it wasn't obvious, I also really like this hunt. A really good addition to the game that was made all the better with its armor and weapons. The armor has this impeccable angel demon vibe that is augmented by its morphing aspect when you have your weapon drawn. You also get to mix and match the armor pieces to get either a full angel or a full demon look that still retains impeccable aesthetic. It is also amazing in the skill department, including the likes of Agitator, Elemental Absorption, and Recovery Speed, which augments its unique set skill, Super Recovery. It allows you to regenerate your HP beyond the rest seconds, bringing you up to full HP in no time at all thanks to the help of Recovery Speed skill. This armor set can be a safe bet in any future content thanks to its very good mix of damage and survivability. Agitator and Convert elements give good conditional damage increases, while Recovery Speed and Super Recovery keep you alive when you get slapped around. These can then be supplemented with good decorations and talismans, and it made all the more easier with the good decoration slots the armor has. But the good stuff doesn't end there, since the weapons are equally amazing and come with their unique skill. They have a very angelic vibe, with the oldest section being the hammer, which is just a big old brick on a stick. Others might have a morphing trait to them, most fully forming into the weapon once they are drawn. They also come with the unique skill, White Flame Torrent, which adds 50 extra raw damage every once in a while when you hit a monster. If you manage to combine that with the Flare skill and the Scorcher skill granted by the Rathalos armor set, and you have an interesting RNG damage build. It is this new approach to build creation that is making these new additions brought on by this little title update feel so good to me, and hopefully Capcom has more of these coming later on. By now, you are probably seeing an interesting trend that Capcom seems to be going for in Monster Hunter Wilds, which is that updated content consists of making somewhat small changes rather than really big ones. And I think the biggest example of this is the recently released Arch Tempered Rey Dau. By now, it probably ain't going to be a surprise, but I really like this hunt, and it all thanks to what I think are the appropriate increases to its health and damage, as well as the new additions to its moveset. The two of these that I would consider the most significant additions were the extra lightning explosions after each strike and the extra railgun shot it uses. The extra damage kept me on high alert throughout all of the hunt, doing my best to avoid taking damage as much as possible since you can easily take hit after hit, which can easily cart you. The extra HP makes the hunt last long enough such that you get to enjoy as much of its moveset as possible. Then, the extra explosions and railgun shot demand more precision in your positioning and dodging, especially when hunting in a group, and you can easily be collateral damage if you aren't careful. Seriously, what's not to laugh about this hunt? The only thing that bummed me was that the gear it unlocks was just not that interesting. The Gamma armor might look great, but the skills it offered were the same as the Alpha set, while having similar decoration slots as the Beta set. Not exactly a major improvement over the originals, with the only thing that makes it stand out is its unique armor set skill, the Lord's Soul. It has a God skill as well as increasing the damage you deal at the cost of increasing the damage you take. With the damage tuning being as balanced as it is in Wilds, damage received is almost always a non-issue, which means that the God skill will rarely come into play, with the exception being future endgame content. All of this to say that all the armor gives you is flat damage increase, and I don't find that interesting. I know that the current skill system has its own share of constraints, but there has to be better ways to implement new skills to make these armors more interesting. Hopefully things will be better with the Arch Tempered Big Tuna armor, which I am pretty sure it will be the next one to drop. Along with this title update, we got the first seasonal event, the Blossomdance. It gave a very beautiful makeover to the Grand Hub with a matching special meal that could be ordered at the canteen. It also came with its share of unique event quests that unlock seasonal armors, as well as all previous quests that have been released up to that point. The Barra Bowling Alley also got a seasonal makeover, and the Diva came along with a new song as well. The quests were pretty ordinary, but the armor they unlocked looked very cool. The Samurai vibe was amazing in spite of its stats and the skills of the equipment not being very good. The seasonal armor ain't meant to be meta-defining gear, so I don't think this is an issue. Especially if it can be decent enough armor for anybody to enjoy regardless of playtime in the game, which I think has always been the purpose of these events. In any case, I am really looking forward to how the summer event plays out. Overall, this Saturday update has been pretty awesome so far, and it paints a very good looking picture of upcoming content. Soon we will get the last event quest announced as well as a Capcom collaboration event, and I have known that they will be very well received and will have people very hyped for the future announcement of the next title update. And that is it for this video. Hit that like button if you found this informative, subscribe and hit the notification bell to know when the next video drops. Thank you all for watching and happy hunting.